Hey, good morning and welcome in. It is a Monday, the first Monday of October here on Mornings in Meridian. Glad to have you folks along with us as we start another new week together. And, of course, our number is 601-485-9191. And, of course, hour one of the two best hours of local live talk radio here in East Mississippi and West Alabama. Of course, online at WALTmeridian.com and Facebook Live as well. Be sure to like us and follow us on Facebook, WALT Talk Radio. Who are we? I am Rob. Roger is on a grandbaby vacation, going to see the grandbaby down in the Keys, and he'll be back next week. And there's the look from Charles Frazier.
In the Keys, okay.
In the Keys.
Well, it just happens to be down there, so.
Life's hard going to visit the grandbaby.
It's so difficult for him, I know it is.
But he'll be back next week. But how are you this morning, man?
Doing well, thank you. How about you?
Doing good. It's start to another week. A new month here as well.
Wow.
As October is officially here. And I was actually looking at the forecast, by the way. By this weekend,
Yeah, I saw it.
40-degree temperatures.
Love it.
Finally.
I know. I'm ready.
Now that's football weather.
I know it's
exactly. So
it'll be like 49 though, just dipping below 50.
below.
But hey, you know, we'll take it.
A little
we
tease.
will take it.
We got a very busy show this morning. We got several guests stopping by to see us. Coming up at 7:30, we're going to be talking Earth's Bounty. Of course, they're about to celebrate a huge birthday. Is Earth's Bounty, and we'll be visiting with Craig Wiltz and Angela Bernard a little bit later on this morning. But we're going to kick off the show this morning because we know tomorrow is a big day.
What? Tomorrow?
Tomorrow's a big day.
What kind of day is it?
You got to go vote.
Oh, the voting day.
But not at your regular spot.
Oh, where are we voting? I hadn't heard about this. What's going on?
We're going to give those voting precincts out again because you know me, I'm Mr. Consistency.
One more time.
But we have got in the studio with us this morning, we have got Mr. Tony McDaniel. Of course, Tony represents the taxpayers for reduced spending for Lauderdale County School District. And Tony, good morning to you.
Good morning, Rob, and appreciate y'all having me in today. Thank you.
Absolutely. Of course, folks have heard the advertisements here on the show throughout the last several weeks talking about this issue of the school bond. And Tony, I know you've attended some, not all, but some of the community discussion meetings regarding the school bond issue. And what's been the feeling among the citizens as these meetings have kind of gone along? I know you've been to at least two of these, right?
I have. I went to Southeast and I went to Clarkdale. And there's no doubt that the overwhelming majority of the people there are against the bond issue for different reasons.
Right.
They all have different reasons. At the Clarkdale community, having the kids out of the buildings for so long. I'm hearing, well, they can't manage the money they already have. Why would we give them $12.5 million? So they're upset about that issue more so than how they've done the bond issue.
Right.
But and I can understand that. Also, there was a mold issue out there that they said was kept from them. Is what I heard from parents, and so they're upset about that. But for the most part, it's just the deception of having a special election costing the taxpayers money when in 35 days they could have piggybacked onto the general election that we were going to have. And I talked to Donna Jill myself, and she said it wouldn't have cost us any more. Now, there might be another elector or two, small, but nothing like the $30,000 to $50,000 it's going to cost us this go-round.
Right.
So no regard for, our tax dollars is the way a lot of people are looking at it. So, it's just been an overwhelming majority of people I've talked to. I've made several phone contacts and probably talked to a couple of hundred people conservatively. And I've had one couple say they were going for it. Everybody else has been dead against it. And so I really feel like the majority of people don't want it to happen. The big thing is, since it's a single issue election, that you got to be passionate enough one way or the other to actually go vote.
Because I was talking to some folks the other night, Charles, about this. It was actually on Thursday night. I saw some folks out in the community, and we all kind of agreed that if this thing is going to be defeated by the folks that are passionate about it, they're going to have to get out and vote.
Sure.
And that's the biggest thing, is they're going to have to vote in different spots than they usually go vote. So
well, and what's interesting to me is that I think when you look at the project on its merits, people are kind of ambivalent. They say, okay, it's maybe too much money, but I think that there is a need, and they recognize the need for career technical training in the community and say, okay, economic development and so on. But I think that the overwhelming kind of sentiment that I get just talking to people in the restaurant and in the community as well is that the deception and the lack of trust that the superintendent and I guess the school board also had with the community, as far as they didn't have enough faith in the community to present the idea on its merits and say, okay, we're going to leave it in the general election. Instead, we're going to do it in this kind of strange way where we're going to hold a special election. And I wouldn't say voter suppression. I think that that's been thrown around there, but I think that they were certainly trying to control that. And I think that what I feel from the community is this kind of cynicism about the school board and the superintendent at this point. And I don't know how kind of you feel about that, but it's an emotional response to it, and people are mad, quite frankly. You know, I think the community feels like that there was an assumption of ignorance and also a lack of intelligence or enthusiasm for kind of being a part of this process. So they said, okay, we're just going to kind of do it our way. And the ambivalence of the community will prevail, and this will pass.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like too that the way they did it, you know, it makes, you know, they in the deception, you know, they're being very deceitful. Like I say, they're trying to have this special election. Number one issue on the ballot. Number two, we're voted to schools, and the school children will be present that day. They did allow that the students that missed that day will be an excused absence, but whoop-de-doo, you know. I know for a fact that the electors, these are the people that go around that look at these polling places that have to approve it as a polling spot. And, of course, I found out, too, the power that the school board has in Lauderdale County. They could have named one location. They could have named all the locations or wherever. They probably could have named it to go right to the prison to vote, and you'd had to go out there to vote as one location. But that's the power they have, and I was not aware of that.
And also, too, I hate to interrupt, but when we had the vote on the food and beverage tax, we had one central voting location, and that was City Hall.
That's right.
So, and that obviously a different issue, but still it was a one ballot initiative, kind of like this is as well. So.
And so that's got a lot of people upset about this. And there again, I went to, like I say, I went to Southeast and I went to Clarkdale, and I mentioned to them about the, the children being present, because I did a little checking. I found out the last election that we had at any school, which was Meridian Public School, was actually the last one. The county had already opted out, offering their schools as polling locations. And when asked by the election officials, why do you want to remove them, and they said it was for the safety of our children and our teachers. Security reasons. We don't want people wandering around looking to bathrooms or whatever, and under the pretense of voting. And also, I went back to the Clarkdale meeting, which was after the Southeast, and I had the microphone, and I found out that day from the Assistant Secretary of State, Kurt Kilpatrick, whether or not that convicted sex offenders, registered sex offenders in Lauderdale County, could they come on campus and vote? Most people don't realize that these guys normally have to stay 500 feet away from any school or school function, even if it's a ball game that's off campus. They can't go there either. That's one of the rules they have to do as a convicted sex offender.
Right.
But according to Kyle Kilpatrick, that he said that we have invited them by making the schools a polling place. You've invited them to come in since they still have the right to vote. And when I brought that up at the Clarkdale, and Mr. Kane said that they're still having the children come that day, I knew why is voter suppression. I'm going to make it as difficult for people to come vote as possible. Now, I want to say this, is that, these guys down there at the corporate office or the administration, they're 100% paid by taxpayers, whether it's state, federal, or local money. But for the most part, the administration is paid by our local tax dollars. To me, I would want everybody in Lauderdale County to vote. If my income came from these voters, I want everybody to tell me how they really feel. And if it passes, great. If it don't, that's just the way you got to live with it.
And a lot of folks need to realize that with this initiative, it has to pass that 60% plus one. This is not like we had in the primary or the runoff with 50% plus. 60% on an initiative like this.
Right.
So.
Well, your one statement you made a little bit incorrect. You got to have 60%, but if it's exactly, we had 100 votes and they had 60 and we had 40, they win.
Right.
Okay. It's not plus one.
So it's just 60% on
that's
the money.
right.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
60. If it was 60, it's going to be hard to realize
Okay.
if we had that, but
Sure.
they win the split.
Okay.
If it's like that.
Okay. So if it's a split, they win that.
That
Okay.
goes the running.
That's right.
Okay.
So
Very good.
anyway, I just hope that people will get out tomorrow. There's no doubt in my mind that there are more people against us for it, but there again, just you got to go vote. Don't hope it don't pass. Don't wish it don't pass. Go vote and make sure it doesn't pass.
601-485-9191. Phone lines are already ringing this morning. Before we get to our first phone call of the day, let's thank one of our fantastic sponsors there, Charles. And it's a short drive up to Philadelphia there on Highway 16 West. As you're making the trip to Philadelphia, stop by Doc's Toyota.
After going to vote.
There you go. Or go by and get you a new vehicle for voting tomorrow.
That's exactly right. And, of course, Doc's has all kinds of brand new 2023 Camrys, Tacomas, 4Runners, Tundras, Highlanders, Corollas, you name it. Toyota makes it. They've got it, and they got plenty of them. They also have a huge selection of pre-owned inventory, and all of that pre-owned inventory has been through the rigorous multi-point Toyota inspection process. So, it's a good quality car. Check them out online. They've got all their inventory listed there, docstoyota.com. And what's great about Docs is you can also go up there and rent a vehicle before you purchase it. So, check it out. Make sure you love that new 4Runner. And then when you decide you do, go see them at Docs, because there is no deal like a Docs deal. Highway 16 West in Philadelphia, Mississippi.
All right. We do have a Facebook comment this morning from Miss LaWanda, one of our very loyal viewers. She said she voted no, and I guess she voted absentee, and she still attended, she said, the meeting. So I think it was one of the community meetings here recently. So there we go. Just got that comment.
And an interesting point, why didn't they make the sex offenders just vote absentee? I mean, just require them to do that. Can you not do that? Can you not compel them to?
There's no law that says they have to do it. I did check on that as well, and there's no law that says they have to vote absentee.
But there's a law that says they can't be within 500 feet of the school.
That's
right.
Which law supersedes
Well, that's
which?
why we asked the assistant
Right.
superintendent, assistant secretary of state, that question.
Sure.
Which law trumps the other one? He said their right to vote trumps having to stay away. You invited them in by making a polling place, which they didn't have to do.
Yeah.
What was the answer from the superintendent when that was asked at Clarkdale the other night?
He said they were still going to have school. Wow. He said they were still going to have school. There was no reason not to call a virtual day or call school off that day. None whatsoever. When they going to have a virtual day, I can't remember, later on in the month, just change the day that the virtual day was going to be, and protect the students, protect the teachers, like the reason they don't want them voting there in the first place.
Because they got fall break next Monday and Tuesday, by the way.
That's right.
But not only protect the kids, but make it easier for the voters to get there.
Absolutely. To go to the regular polling place and vote.
Yeah. Let's go to our phone line this morning, 601-485-9191. Hey, caller, thanks for holding. Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Hey,
I
morning.
appreciate the effort you're putting forth. I support career technical education, but I am totally opposed to the way this thing has gone on, and the way this bond is written, $12.5 million. If it passes, they can spend that money on just about anything they want to. They are not required, once this bond issued, to spend all this money on a career technical education. Now, that's just a fact. You read the bond issue if you don't believe it, and that's the way it is. Now, at Clarkdale, he said, we're going to just spend it on this. Well, then write the bond that way, and let's pass the bond that way. And there's so many options that they had. You just mentioned one, Rob. Waiting till November was one. Even a virtual learning day. The bond attorney, the school board with one exception, and the superintendent did not take into consideration the children, the teachers, the faculty, and especially the voters when they decided to have this election the way they're having it. You mentioned voter suppression, and I've read some things, and that possibly could be some kickback as far as voter suppression is concerned.
And Jimmy, you've already voted, right? You voted absentee.
I did, and I've been trying to encourage people to do that. But if you're over 65, of course, it's too late now. It's ended, but I did. I went and voted where I could avoid the chaos and the driving 42 miles round trip to vote.
Well, I will let you know.
I mean, that doesn't sound like much, but if I can drive 6 or 7 minutes to vote, I would take it every time over having to drive 20, 30 minutes to vote.
Yeah, my wife and I were discussing it last night because we're going to have to vote over at Clarkdale. Like, what time of day do we need to go vote? I mean, because she likes to vote early in the morning. I vote after work, but by the time I get there after work, I'm going to have to fight that school line to get out there and vote. So I guess we're going to vote as soon as I'm off the air tomorrow at 9, which that's really, to my opinion, that's the best window other than maybe 5 or 6 o'clock, maybe. I don't know.
6:45.
You're not working a regular job, though.
Exactly.
Right?
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just things like that they don't take. And I told, Tony and I were talking about this off air a while ago. I guarantee you this is going to happen tomorrow. Folks that are not plugged into this issue, they've just heard, oh, we got to go vote. And they know somewhat about the issue. They're going to go to the regular polling place, and guess what's going to happen? They're going to get there, and they're going to be like, well, the door's locked. What's going on? I'm just going to go home.
Yep.
Yeah, they want to go vote.
Or are they going to get to Clarkdale or Southeast and Northeast or West Lauderdale, and they're going to say, I'm not going to fight this mess. I'm going to turn around and go home.
That too. Yeah, exactly. So.
Yep. Well, I've set out at
counted on that.
I've set out at Southeast. I live out in that area, and I've set out there, and I set over my normal polling place, Coker Chapel, which is right across the street from Southeast. And you sit there by that red light up there on 19, and you watch. You have to wait 3 and 4 times to get through the red light, and what a chaos it is with the buses coming in, unloading students, trying to get back out, and then the people dropping off their students in the traffic line and that type thing. It's the same way in the afternoon. You know, it's just, those, I'm going to say between 7:30 and probably 8:30, 8:45, and then probably 2:30 to say 3:30, 4 o'clock. It's just about unbearable to get there with the traffic. So those hours really, I would say, are not really times I would recommend to go vote. But there again, in the middle of the day, if people have a job, it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's no doubt they've made it very difficult to go vote.
And I wonder,
Absolutely.
I wonder how many parents are going to try to vote as they're dropping their kids off, and how much that's going to affect the school line as well.
That's going to cause
can you
a backup.
imagine?
Yeah.
It's going to be 10 times worse than it normally is. So,
It sounds like to me the difficulties are endless.
Yeah. It seems like the more you peel the onion back, there's just another issue, another issue, another issue. So.
Have a great day.
Well, thank you for calling.
Thanks, sir.
Nice talking to you.
All right. 601-485-9191. Let's go back to the phone line. Hey, caller, welcome in.
Howdy.
Hey.
Tell me who's the daddy of this election thing we got going on.
The daddy?
Yeah, somebody had to come up with it. Who did that?
I would guess the fingers would have to point toward the superintendent of education and those folks.
the school board.
Yeah, school board.
Well, it started with the administration going toward the school board, and the school board passing it. But the administration actually the ones that came up with this. And this has been, in all fairness, it's been an ongoing thing for several years. That was the envision of the superintendent that recently retired before John Mark Kane, and Randy.
Yeah, Randy Hodges.
Yeah, Randy Hodges. That was kind of his vision to have something like this. And there again, my feeling is, guys, is we need things like this. I used to own a company, and we employed people, and I saw people come in to apply for jobs that had dropped out of school, and I'd always ask, why did you drop out of school in 10th, 11th grade? Well, me and school didn't get along, but these people need an education. They're going to be very limited to what they can do, and they need something to do. But everybody's not cut out for college, so we need this. But in my humble opinion, based on being a businessman and knowing how far you can make money stretch, is that $8 million that the state has already given them is more than enough to do a workforce development training center. It might not be the way the architect has drawn it, but it will be very functional to teach people what they want them to learn, because a lot of this is hands-on. Not you learn some in the classroom, yes, But this is mostly hands-on, and I think $8 million is plenty of money to do what they want to do.
Is $8 million what they're going to build the vocational school part of it?
Well, that was the $8 million is appropriated from the state, and that $8 million from the state is only set to go to the CTE building only.
They've already got that, yeah.
Yeah,
That's got nothing to do with the bond issue.
and they've already spent 1.5 of that already on different, I guess, to kind of gut the building, asbestos, and to hire an architect, which that's another issue in itself. But so they've already spent 1.5 on it already. So.
And purchasing the
Yeah.
property.
That sounds like they went right on with what they're doing. If they done bought stuff and spent money on stuff, we ain't voted for it.
Well,
You hear me?
it will be built regardless because they have the $8 million. So it will be built in one way or another. They want the $20 million Taj Mahal, but they're going to have an $8 million building if the bond doesn't pass. So, which will probably be a nice building for $8 million. At least I hope so.
Yeah.
We're voting on more than the vocational school. That's what we're doing.
Well, if you read the bond language, we're voting on more than that. Yeah.
They
That's
have
what I thought.
they have the right to spend it on buses or any related facility, anything that the school board wants to spend the money on. They can do it, the way the bond is written.
Mm-mm. So we don't really know other maybe than the vocational school. We don't know.
Right.
Right.
There you go. Well, Loafer is going to vote no.
Okay.
there we go.
so there you go, guys.
Well, hey, we appreciate you as always. All right, appreciate you. 601-485-9191. We got to take a break here on Mornings of Meridian. Tony, I know you're going to stick around here for a minute because we got to switch gears and talk about Earth's Bounty, but you'll stick around in our next segment. Yeah. So, but school bond vote coming up tomorrow. So we'll talk more about it coming up. But first, we got a Fox News break. Angela's here, so we're going to talk Earth's Bounty next. Not the best selection there, Charles, but it is his birthday today.
Sting, really?
Sting's got a birthday today.
How old is he?
72.
Really? Okay. Wow.
You're like, really?
Wow. Okay.
Yep, Sting's doing his birthday today. Don McLean's 78 today. And really beyond that, that's about it. It's just a really lackluster list today on the birthday list. So there you go.
And
So
people didn't try very hard, I guess.
I guess not. 601-485-9191. Real quick before we get to our Earth's Bounty discussion, let's talk about our friends over at Ready to Roof.
Ready to Roof. That's right. Our only award-winning local roofing company, and they're ready to assist you with all your roofing needs. You can check them out online at ready2roof.com. You set up an appointment on there, and of course, they'll work with your insurance company and get you the best possible warranty for your home. Give them a call, 601-573-1150. Of course, what's great about Ready to Roof is they have financing options available as well. And so they have those low monthly payments for that brand new roof, and they have qualified as Master Elite Certified Roofers. And only 2% of all roofing companies in the country have qualified as Master Elite, so you know they are good. 601-573-1150 or ready2roof.com.
I didn't want to make her mad, but yeah, TV personality Kelly Ripa's got a birthday
Who?
today.
I'm
too.
sorry, who is that?
Yeah,
Kelly,
she's 53. You know, she gets mad about things pretty easy.
Kelly Ripa
And,
does?
yeah, she
Don't
really
make
does.
her angry.
And also the late attorney Johnny Cochran. If he were still with us, he'd be 86 today.
If the glove fits, or if it doesn't fit,
Yeah,
you
if it
must
doesn't
have quit.
fit, you must have quit.
Either way.
So there you go. So a couple of birthdays to sprinkle in there for you. So like I
okay.
said, very lackluster list today. So.
Yeah.
But I tell you what birthday is not lackluster, and that is Earth's Bounty.
That's not lackluster.
That's right.
Like the segue there? There you
Yes.
go. We've got Angela Bernard in this morning. Angela, how are you this morning?
I'm pretty good.
When we see her first of the month, we know it's coming. It's
Yes.
Earth's Bounty time.
It is.
But this is a big one.
It is a big one. It's our birthday celebration. 2 years delayed. We're celebrating our 10th anniversary on our 12th year because of COVID. We couldn't do it on our 10th year. So this Saturday we have extended hours, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Whoa.
We are going to have Scott McQuaig as our musician.
Nice.
We're going to have like a family style eating area, and we have Hillbilly Dots and Robin's Kitchen
Wow.
for food. We're going to have, we're calling it our Baker's Dozen. So some of our bakers are going to donate goods, and we're going to have drawings to give away.
Nice.
So yeah, we got lots planned for everybody. Pumpkin painting for the kids.
Pumpkin painting.
That's very
that time of
popular.
year, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow,
Okay.
pumpkin painting, fantastic.
Pumpkin lattes.
It's hard to believe 10 years, 12,
12.
but we're going to go back and celebrate 10 because of that virus that
That
happened.
thing?
Yeah.
What was that called?
That
Mean
thing.
stupid thing.
Yeah, it means stupid
The Fauci
thing.
thing.
But it is amazing, though, that we've gotten to this point, though. 12 years, 10, going back and celebrating it. But this Earth's Bounty, it's become a huge event on these first weekends of the month.
It really has, and I don't know if you saw the Reader's Choice Awards just came out,
Yeah.
and we won for the second year in a row Best Local Event. Yeah, so we're really excited about that. That all the hard work is paying off.
Fantastic.
We beat out Sip and Savor
Wow.
and 3 Foot.
Wow.
I know
Okay.
we're really happy.
Beat those folks out. Those events are nothing. Nothing.
We're losers.
Yeah, losers. They're never coming on our show.
I won't be back now. That's for sure.
now. We just made fun of
Okay,
them.
we got some spots open next week.
But
Apparently.
but that is a testament though to
Yeah.
the folks in the community really loving this event. And of course, this is not all year long. This is in that small window,
Right.
Late spring, early summer, all the
April
way
through
to
November.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're all volunteers. You know, everybody that runs this. Well, Craig is the only city employee. But,
Yeah.
So everybody that puts this together is volunteering their time.
So, but it's going to be extended hours because I know a lot of
Yes.
folks are used to, hey, get started at 8 and you go to around lunchtime, but you're going
Right.
to have a little bit longer to roll with this on Saturday. Which is
Yes, because we wanted to really celebrate,
Yeah.
and we thought, why not go 2 extra hours? Give our vendors a chance to have a couple extra hours to sell their wares and
cool. Sure.
just make it worthwhile.
Sure, and of course, during the summer at around noon, everyone's like, "Oh, it's
Yes.
hot out here."
So,
Like, I know.
yes.
And I think we're looking at some really good temps. We're looking at
Lovely.
like mid-80s, maybe.
Yes, it's going to be
mean,
beautiful.
Yeah, so.
I always say if you can get to the October market, we've survived the worst of it.
Saturday, high of 74.
Wow.
That's good.
Oh,
The low overnight between Friday and Saturday is going to be 57.
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah.
We might have to wear a sweatshirt.
Nice.
So, yeah, 74 is going to be a high Saturday. So, it's going to be perfect
It's gonna be
weather
beautiful,
for
yes.
this. So, y'all going to have cake?
We are going to have.
Whoa, we need to. Yeah. Okay. I'm there. Yeah.
Your birthday cake. It's a birthday
Get in
party.
line
I'm
a
just
couple
saying.
times for that one.
Yeah.
Right.
So, this is happening Saturday. Now, you mentioned it goes to November. So, you're going to have one more event in November?
Well, actually, we're going to have two more. We're going to have
more?
our
Okay.
November, our regular November market, and then we've added a special Christmas market. So we're calling it Merry
okay.
Night Market.
Nice.
It's on this Thursday, the 16th, and in conjunction with the Max, of course. And we're going to have more craft vendors than we normally have
Obviously, it's Christmas.
because of Christmas.
Yeah,
and, it's
yeah.
just going to be a holiday-themed
Yeah.
market.
Awesome.
Very good.
Okay.
So Saturday is it? We always say get there early for the produce.
That's still true.
That's still
Yeah.
true. You need to get there early,
Yeah.
even though you have the extended hours. Still get there
Right.
early, get the best pick.
Yes, yes. Hopefully, they'll bring more inventory because of the extended hours, but yeah, it always gets picked over really quickly.
So don't wait till
Don't wait.
Don't wait till 1:30.
Although hang out till 1:30, but yeah.
tomatoes at?
And
Got
we
no
do have
waiters
people
there.
come late and then they're upset with us because there's nothing to buy.
Well, you slept in. It's your
That's
fault.
exactly right.
All on you. That's what you get for party on Friday night.
Right.
You
You didn't get
less
up
on
at
Saturday.
noon, maybe.
Exactly.
So,
So we've got the one Saturday and, of course, the big event coming up in November as well. I mean, these are two just great ways to kind of finish off the season, though. So,
Yes.
so you got the birthday celebration on Saturday. And once again, the location is going to be
Singing Brakeman Park.
Singing Brakeman Park. Beautiful. So,
Yeah.
because Charles, there is a lot going on this weekend.
Ooh, there is, yeah. A lot of, there's the Rail Passengers Association, and that's a big convention, and I'm sure they'll be down at the Railroad Museum and at Earth County and
Yes,
around.
hopefully.
I know that there's a big event, I think, on Saturday during the day at the Raleigh Center for them. However, they should
Yes.
have some free time to kind of get down there as well. I think there's also some tourism directors in town. I'm not sure how many are coming for that and exactly what the days are. I know it's towards the end of the week, Thursday, Friday, and hopefully they'll be in for Saturday as well. And, of course, Earth's Bounty. And I believe there's something else going on Saturday. And
There's Felder Rushing will be at the Max.
Okay.
And we're hoping he'll come down because the Master Gardeners, I
Sure,
forgot,
yeah.
are also having their fall plant sale at Earth's Bounty.
Wow.
And so he usually comes down and makes an appearance down at their booth.
Awesome.
So
Okay.
yeah, that's the other thing.
Now, if there's someone listening out there, I know we're right on the doorstep of this coming up Saturday. Is there room if they want to maybe get a booth there, or is that kind of time is gone? I mean, how does that work?
No, if they contact Craig Wilkes at the city, 601-485-1998,
Oh, hey.
or through our Facebook page, send us a message. He can see what you have
See
and
what
get
you
you
have
approved
available.
and get you set up.
Very good, because it's going to be a lot of fruits, vegetables, the regular vendors, and of course you've talked about the other stuff. It's always there because people think Earth's Bounty is just going to be the produce, but there's all these other items there as well.
Right.
So-
We have bakers. We have a lady that, she has goats, and so she has soaps and cheeses, and she sells ice cream, and we have like soy-based
Ice
candles,
cream, hey,
goat's
we'll get
milk
Joe
ice
Biden.
cream. It's
Yeah.
it's not bad.
Is it good?
Yeah, I've had the vanilla and the chocolate.
Never had it before.
Come from a chocolate goat.
And you can get a small, like a half pint, I think it is, little
Okay.
container to try out if you're uncertain. But
Put that on the cake that we get.
there you go.
Ice cream cake.
Cake and goat's milk ice cream.
There you go.
Right.
My wife always says that. It's like, you know what to make that better? Little ice cream.
Yeah, pretty much makes everything better.
Yes, right. It does.
Yes,
it does.
dear, it does. So very good.
That
So,
on
Yes.
your bacon.
so it gets started Saturday morning, 8 o'clock at Singing Brakeman Park, and the extended hours goes until 2 o'clock. Now, I hate to look past Saturday, but you talked about the Christmas event coming up. You said a lot of arts and crafts type stuff for the Christmas holidays. And I know that's a big business right there. A lot of folks really get involved in that. But if they want to get involved in that, they can call Craig as well to see if
Correct.
there's space availability.
Yes.
Now, is that event going to be at Singing Brakeman, or is it going to be
No, the night market's always in the courtyard of the Max.
Max? That's what I thought, at the Max. Yeah, I just
Yeah.
wanted to be sure on that. So very good. So Saturday morning, 8 o'clock, Charles will have his cake and ice cream.
Yes, with goat's milk ice cream.
That's right.
I love it. So once again, folks need to get in touch with Craig. What's that number again?
601-485-1998.
Fantastic. Well, it's going to be a big event this Saturday, Singing Brakeman Park in downtown Meridian. extended hours as we celebrate the anniversary of Earth's bounty. Even though it's 12, we're going to roll back a couple of years and celebrate that
It's
10th.
close enough. And
Close
the weather
enough.
is going to
Yeah,
be beautiful. I mean, let's get
exactly.
out there and support it.
I think Angela got excited when I said 74.
I got excited. I mean, what?
Angela, always a blast to see you, and we'll send everybody out there on Saturday.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're going to take a break here at Mornings of Meridian. We'll come back with more of the show after this. I thought about just letting this whole thing play out. We could just go have breakfast and come
and
back.
lunch.
Yeah. Don McClain celebrating a birthday today. American Pie was voted number 5 on the list of the 365 songs of the century.
Wow.
So
Okay.
how about that? Just iconic.
What list is that? I didn't get to vote on that.
Yeah.
They probably had voter suppression. Or
That was at the
something.
schools, by the
That's
way.
why I didn't go vote.
That's why you didn't go vote. So.
I might have voted it, though, number 5. What was number 1? Does it say? Doesn't.
No, I don't have that list up there.
okay.
They were only talking about the birthday boy.
All right.
We're going to visit with Tony McDaniel coming up in just a few minutes, but appreciate Angela Bernard for coming by to see us. Of course, Earth's Bounty celebrating a big anniversary this weekend. And, boy, you mentioned all the stuff going on in downtown. I don't want to hear anybody say, so, but yeah, appreciate her coming by. It's Earth's Bounty.
Yeah.
Doing that 10th anniversary celebration on Saturday, 8 o'clock. Get the best pick of the produce early on Saturday morning.
Scott McQuaig, free cake and goat cheese or goat milk ice
Yeah, get you
cream.
some goat milk. Yeah, purchase that pint and throw it on your cake there. So
Right.
There you go. We've got a ton of comments on our Facebook Live platform. Charles, I'm going to filter through those real quick. May post some of those here live
Sure.
on our
Okay.
screen. But real quick, let's thank our next sponsor on the list.
That's Barber and Sons Plumbing. Been doing it right for over 80 years right there on 26th Avenue. You know where they are. They are the experts on everything plumbing here in town. In fact, if you've got a problem with any plumbing at home or at your business, take a picture of it, show it to Tony and or show it to Gary, I'm sorry, and he will set you on your way, get you the right part to fix it, and tell you how to fix it. I mean, he is just extraordinary in that regard. And they've got a huge inventory of plumbing supply parts, everything you need to get your plumbing going. And one thing I like to say, there's no maybes in plumbing. You want it fixed right, and Barbara and Sons Plumbing will show you how to do that. 601-482-7023, conveniently located at 1123 26th Avenue.
All right, filtering through the Facebook post here, through a lot of the comments here, I'm just going to post the. I've got a new little feature here where I can put the comments up on the screen here.
That's so fancy.
I know, so fancy. Comment here from Kate Talley says Dr. Kane admitted that it wouldn't pass if it was a normal if it was at a normal precinct. They knew what they were doing. That's a comment from Kate Talley out there listening this morning. Miss LaWanda McCoy, one of our loyal viewers here, she said, vote as soon as you can so other obstacles don't interfere getting to vote. So obviously we all know it's going to be a challenge tomorrow. Right. To be honest with you, no matter what time of day you go there. Another comment here from Kate Talley. She said the Election Commission had no idea that our car rider line went through the voter parking lot.
Okay.
So that's just a comment from her there. Also, let's see what else we got here.
Well, now
looks like it's a LaWanda Kate battle here for comments here. Miss LaWanda said they should be held liable for not being transparent to the Election Commission. So that's just comments there.
And I wonder if that gives us cause to, if the vote doesn't go whichever way, does it give cause to somebody to say, that there were some difficulties that weren't disclosed to the Election Commission?
It's a fair point. It's a fair point.
There's no parking. There's, whatever that's going to be.
And also, Anthony, appreciate you listening. He's listening from Cruising the Coast today. So that's going on. So a lot of things going on. So I appreciate all you folks watching on Facebook Live this morning. And if you're not a fan and don't like us on Facebook, go do it now. Like us and follow us, WALT Talk Radio. And, of course, we're online at WALTMeridian.com. But Charles, like I mentioned earlier, we've already made up our mind. We're probably going to go vote around 9-ish, 9:30-ish. Tomorrow morning, because I know when I get done here at the station, that's when the kids are going to start being picked up from school, and that's going to be a nightmare. But like you said this morning, with the car rider line in the morning, what if parents say, "Well, I'm just going to drop my kid off and vote at the same time"?
Drop and vote, and
drop and vote,
right?
Drop and vote. Stop, drop and vote.
Stop.
Stop, drop and vote.
Right. We dropping here.
Actually, that does make sense now.
How many parents are going to want to do that, though? And I think that with the, all the parents have been involved in this thing, or a lot of them have, going to these meetings and so on. And so there's a very much a very strong sentiment, I think, amongst the parents to vote no because of the issues at Clarkdale and various other schools that haven't been addressed before we spend all this money on the CTE. Then, those parents who are inclined to vote and drop their kids off and then go to work. Right, if they can just do kind of one-stop shopping, so to speak, then they're going to try to do that. But what's that going to do to the drop-off line? I mean,
stop, drop, and vote.
Right, your kid might get there about 12:30.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go back to the phone line this morning at 485-9191. Hey, caller, good morning.
Mabel, what are those boys talking about? Stop, drop, and vote.
Stop, drop, and vote.
Are we having a nuclear election?
Some may feel that way.
It seems that way, yeah.
Well, it does make sense. And then remember, the county is giving them an excused absence if they don't come to school.
That's right.
So how many of those kids do you think really want to go to school?
Well, how many really want to go? How many of the parents are going to make them go? That's the question.
Sure, that's true.
Yeah. If it's up to the kids, I doubt that many would go. But, if I'm a parent and I'm looking at all these voters going in, just the general public going into the school with my child there, I'm keeping the kid home. I'm sorry. That's
that safety issue.
Yeah.
Big time.
Of course, depends how old they are and what other plans are, if we're at home
where they made the mistake is the voting schools.
Yeah.
They should have been all high schools and just let the high schools have a day off.
Or, hey, I got a better idea. Let's don't have them at the schools. Let's have it on the November ballot and have it at the regular precinct.
Just crazy talk.
Now, you're talking about saving money. That is just not the right way.
We don't do that. We just like to throw money away.
Yep. 50 grand. Peanuts.
What can we say? Another day, no dollar in debt before taxes.
Right. In this case, what, $36,000 to $40,000?
Yeah.
And more, or more.
Yeah.
Or more. Mostly more.
Yeah. It's like we always say.
There's always going to be something.
It's like we always say, this includes this, this, and this, and more.
Yet there's more.
Yeah. It's like, the mayor of New York screaming about, oh, we have all these illegal aliens coming up here. Hey, you guys voted for it. You got it.
Yeah,
Deal with it.
exactly.
Don't come to Mississippi asking us to help you out. You made your choice.
Yeah.
You live with it.
Made your bed, you got to sleep in it.
And if they vote in this bond, same thing. You voted for it. Live with it.
Now, you said, I believe when you called us last week, you said you live in the city. You can't vote for this?
I can't vote. Nope.
So you're one of those SEP people.
Yes, but now, like I said, my wife and I have property in the county that we pay taxes on.
Exactly.
Why shouldn't we be allowed to vote?
And I've heard that argument from several other folks, too. So
Yeah. I mean, they're going to raise the taxes on my piece of property out there in their southeast. And that, taking money out of my pocket. But I can't vote against it or for it.
yeah.
Hey, where's this taxation without representation stuff?
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say that because I've heard that several times already.
Oh, yeah. And I'm going to start giving governmental lessons to all those listeners out there so that they know the real deal. Okay?
Right.
The first thing is there is no such thing as the government. First rule. Because the first 3 words of the Constitution say it all. We the people. Yep.
All right. Well, you need to let you run because we need to pay off another advertiser. We appreciate you checking in this morning.
Well, you guys have a good day, and Mabel, get me out of here.
All right.
Mabel.
We got you. Be sure you get Mabel some good breakfast on Monday. So,
Oh, yeah.
Before we get to our Fox News break, we'll have Tony McDaniel back in next hour as well, and we'll crank those phone lines back up at 485-9191. We need to thank one of our other great advertisers. Bow season is finally here. The weather's turning, and that means it's time to go see Tony.
It is. Not Tony McDaniel.
Well,
You can see him, too.
Yeah.
Go see Tony at Tony Southern Sportsman, 1724 Front Street. Give him a call, 601-693-4111. Of course, as you mentioned, it is bow season, and Tony has all kinds of bows down there just ready to be picked up. He will size it and set it up with the right weight and tune it just to your specifications. He's even got a kind of an archery range underneath the 18th Avenue overpass over there. And, of course, everything you need also to get out in the outdoors and enjoy this beautiful fall weather that we've got, hiking, camping, fishing, you name it, he's got it down there at Tony's Southern Sportsman. If you're down at Earthbounty, he's open 8:30 till 1 on Saturday. Great opportunity to go down and get some birthday cake and then go pick up a new crossbow or whatever it is that you need to get out there in the woods and enjoy yourself. 601-693-4111. In addition to the Saturday hours, he's also open 8:30 to 5, Monday through Friday.
All right, fantastic. We're going to take a break here on Mornings of Meridian. Got some Fox News coming up. Also, we'll have Tony McDaniel back on for our next segment as we continue to talk about the school bond issue vote tomorrow. Folks, we are on the eve of the big vote, 7 to 7. Of course, you know me. We're going to go over those voting precincts again.
Let's do it again.
So we'll take a break for Fox News, and our number, 485-9191. We'll be back. All right, welcome back in. It's Mornings at Meridian here on News Talk 102.1 WALT. Man, we're approaching 10 minutes into the 8 o'clock hour, and we got Tony McDaniel back in with us, of course, talking the school bond vote tomorrow. Tony, appreciate you hanging around with us.
Thank you, Rob. I appreciate y'all letting me come in today.
Absolutely. Of course, got Charles Frazier with us as well. Been a very busy Monday so far.
It has, yes. Lots of calls, lots of stuff going on.
Number 485-9191. Before we move on here with Tony, let's talk about one of our other great sponsors here on Mornings in Meridian.
Southern Business Supply.
Hey, Billy Adam Calvert.
That's right. Anything you need for your office, whether that's furniture or office supplies, paper clips, staplers, you name it, he's got it. And what's great about Southern Business Supply is you can order it online, and it'll be there the next day. Better than Amazon, better than those big box stores. Go to southernbusinesssupply.com. And all you got to do is fill out some information, and then, boom, it is there the next day. And for me, that's the way I order my office supplies because it's so convenient. And, of course, they also have janitorial supplies, break room supplies. Bring you some candy.
Hey.
Yes, indeed. Or you can go by their showroom at 5685 Dale Drive. They're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Give them a call, 601-485-2447. If you buy local, your money stays here. Just say no to those big box stores and go to southernbusinesssupply.com.
All right, we do have a caller on the line here, but Tony, I wanted to read off the bond language again real quick because we mentioned that during the first hour. This is the way the initiative will look on your ballot tomorrow. Shall the Lauderdale County School District issue its bonds in the maximum principal amount of $12,500,000 to raise money for the purpose of paying the costs, including the cost of borrowing, of purchasing, erecting, repairing, equipping, and remodeling school buildings and related facilities, including a new career and technical education center, purchasing land therefore, performing site and paving work, and providing necessary water, light, heating, air conditioning, and sewage facilities for school buildings and related facilities. Vote for the bond, against the bond. So, Tony, you mentioned the language last hour. I mean, CTE is kind of buried there at the bottom.
Yes, and you also missed and purchasing school buses right there at the end.
Okay, so that is on there.
Yes.
Okay, that was a.
I thought they eliminated that.
That was a fresh one we just got from Donna Jill
okay,
a few days ago.
So. Okay, well, they changed it. Then the copy I originally had and purchasing school buses.
Yeah.
I had.
What gets me is the whole thing is about CTE, right? That's how it's been presented to us, except for most of it says borrowing, purchasing, erecting, repairing, equipping, and remodeling school buildings and related facilities.
That's right. So,
including that new CTE.
Right.
But all the rest, it's like anything else that we need to do for any other building that's within the school district.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which should be under their general fund anyway.
Hey, caller, good morning. Thanks for holding. Welcome in.
Good morning, true American patriot.
Yes.
Maybe your guest can enlighten me. I'm fearsome confused on the fact that for years we've never used schools as polling places for elections. And, I don't know exactly when that cut off.
2009.
Okay, but now on this particular election, it seems to be okay. Also, another point, they wouldn't give the students a virtual day or put this on the general election ballot, but we're going to give you an excused absence day if you decide you don't want to show up due to safety concerns or whatever. What about the people getting a petition, filing this with the Attorney General's office in Mississippi and with the federal Attorney General's office, because federal money is involved too, for voter suppression, and also are they in compliance with ADA Act? Are they going to have all the facilities there for disabled people to vote? That's discrimination. I don't think this thing was well thought out. It was in the dark and in shadows when it started, and it will end worse.
Well, I can tell you this, is that the election officials went to every campus and looked at what they're having, and there's law in the election part of the law that says they have to have handicap parking. There's nothing that in the law that says how many parking spots they have to have for voters. According to John Mark Kane, they will have dedicated parking for the area for the voters, but we don't know how many spots. Might be 2, might be 25. I don't know. But the electors did go and approve the facilities. One change they made, West Lauderdale was going to limit 20 people in the poll at a time, and they said they couldn't do that, so they have to let more people in, which they've agreed to doing that. But the electors have approved it, and so it will be a vote held there. And again, if you get there and you're a handicapped person, there's nowhere for you to park, there would be some kind of you could bring that forward that I could not vote because I didn't have a parking spot. But that's it's going to be held in the school, and it's going to be legal because they do have the right to do that. I checked on that.
Okay, well, they ceased voting at public schools for a reason. Probably the safety concern years and years ago.
Absolutely, that's what they said.
Okay, but are they any safer now than they were then?
No.
If that's the case, why don't we have the general election at the schools too?
Well, I asked the question at one of the, at both of them, at Southeast and Clarkdale. What has changed since 2009? What makes you think that the kids will be safe now rather than then? Of course, they really didn't have an answer, but they, talking to my...
They haven't had proper answers for any of this.
Right.
There's been a lot of questions posed, and they skate, and they have scripted answers for everything.
Right. And they say they have, the resource officer, and then they have the they're supposed to have some deputy sheriffs, but I know the deputy sheriffs will have to come and go. They can't just stay at school all day. But they have the, resource officer that'll be there. And like I say, when I even talked to my school board member, and he said, in his opinion, the kids will be as safe on the voting day as any other day. And I disagreed with him. I said, no,
well,
you're inviting people to come
opinion.
in.
Let's get the Attorney General's opinion. If they stopped it for safety concerns in 2009, nothing has changed. That they're pulling the wool over people's eyes. Oh, we think and we believe. Well, let's get the truth of the facts. And just like the caller called a while ago, we the people decide this. The power is vested in the people. I want people to get out and vote. Vote your heart and conscience and tell these people they're not going to run roughshod over you.
Absolutely.
That they are
Absolutely.
going to be accountable.
I hope this. One of the things I want to kind of bring up this hour is how important it is that not only do we vote this thing down, but we win by a majority. Right now, they have to get to 60%. We have to get 40%, or 40% plus 1 to actually defeat it. But they, do anybody realize that
that's exactly right.
In the next time they have a school board meeting, they can vote to have another special election.
That's right.
They can do it as many times as they want to, and there's no limit now. Like I said, we don't like the outcome. I know City of Meridian at one point, they got a school bond defeated, and less than 60 days later, they had announced another school bond coming out, and it won the second go-round. They made a few little changes on the thing, but they can bring it up again.
That's exactly the tactic they're going to use here, but send a clear enough signal. Y'all bring it again, we're gonna be ready for you again.
Absolutely, but I think that if we beat a majority, we have more than 50% of the votes no. I don't think they'd go to that trouble. I hope they got enough sense not to do it.
Hopefully that sent a good, clear
Don't
message.
bank on that.
Yeah.
Don't bank on that. Like I said, this thing from the get-go was in shadows and darkness.
Absolutely.
And it's going to end worse. The way it's worded, everything, there's dreams and schemes here that people aren't seeing out of everything. But nobody's ever answered this question yet. Out of the entire county, it has to be in this old building on a bad highway.
Right.
It can't be no other place but right here. Why is that? Is it the right people getting the little bag of money? Let's just tell the truth, if anybody even cares what the truth is.
Well, I can tell you what the truth is. They don't want people to vote.
That's right. They're suppressing the vote.
Right.
And that's illegal.
Statistics
They've
show
cut the deal in their favor, which is legal. That's discriminating against the voters. That's disenfranchising the voters, and filed by proper lawsuits, state and federal, and take them to the dance. Roger that.
There we go. The has spoken.
Take him to the dance.
Take him to the dance. So.
And leave him there.
Well, I've got a second. I'd like to bring up the people that are against this for tax purposes. I want to make sure everybody understands right now. They kind of spinning this thing. You'll only pay another $31.50 on a $100,000 home, this type thing. Mm-hmm. But it's not how much little it's going up; it's how much you already pay. So in the county government right now, you pay 60.7 mills for county government. That's the supervisor's budget. Okay? The county schools right now gets 58 mills of our tax dollars.
Now, is that included what they just passed? That
yes,
point
that
three,
point,
that
point
0.3,
0.14.
Yeah.
That's right. And so our total millage rate is 118.7 mills. All right. If this passes, the actual county schools will actually be collecting more of our tax dollars than the whole rest of the county government put together by about a mill. Okay, so it takes a lot more money to run the schools, according to the present school administration, than the whole county. And that's paving roads and all the people that work for the county and all that. And I find that just hard to believe that it takes that kind of money to run these schools. And I just wondered, why that's going on like it is. But I want everybody to understand it's not how little your taxes are going up. It is how much you already pay.
And that includes the sheriff's department.
Absolutely.
And
all
the
that.
jail.
Everything.
Everything. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Let's
go back to the phone line here. Mornings of Meridian. Hey, caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Millions of dollars. John Mark Kane, get it out of here.
Oh, no. How's everything on the front porch this morning?
Just fine. I wanted to thank Tony, like his father before him. I've been around. They've all been active for years when there was a question about prudent spending, taxpayer dollars wasted. And I thank you, Tony, for doing that.
Thank you. Appreciate you saying that.
If you tell them they can hang their stocking up this Christmas. I wanted to mention that should they not pass this obscure spending proposal that they have, it might be an opportunity for them to consider that the county's bought 38 acres down there at the courthouse they want to develop. The supervisors might partner with them to get a little space over there where they can put that center and do some thinking about ways to construct something down there.
Yeah, that's an idea.
You mean a CTE down there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That way, when the tourist buses come in, they can showcase what a good job the county's doing. We got your county school center over here. We got your security from the sheriff's department next door, and new courthouse. I could go on, and I bet they will too before they get through spending on that acreage.
Yep, I'm sure you're right on that.
Well, thank you guys for allotting the time to discuss the issues with it.
Absolutely.
Thank you for your call. I appreciate your kind comments. Thank you.
All right, goodbye.
All right, 601-485-9191. Let's thank one of our other sponsors here on Mornings of Meridian before we move on here this morning and continue our school bond discussion. Who we got next on the list?
We got
there?
A&A Glass.
Adam and Adam.
Adam and Adam. You know it down there, 217 22nd Avenue, or, of course, you can call it Cedar Ward Parkway. Whichever one you prefer, just give them a call, 601-693-GLASS. They are the #1 glass replacement company here in town and have been for 10 years running. They must be doing something right. Open 8 to 4, Monday through Friday. You know, you got that little peck, that little crack in your windshield. We're getting cold. It's going to be hot, cold. You know what happens then? It expands, contracts, and before you know it, that little crack becomes a huge crack, and you need to replace the whole windshield. Well, don't do that. Just take it up there. They'll repair it. 601-693-GLASS. Talk to Adam, and they will get you going.
Before we take our next caller here, Tony, I just wanted to go over the voting precincts again. We do this every single day here on the show. For folks who usually vote at Bailey, Center Hill, Collinsville, Martin, or Sickalina, you will vote at West Lauderdale Elementary School, which is located on Highway 495. If you usually vote at the precincts of 17, Causeyville, Odom, Vimville, Wynot, or Mount Gilead, you will vote at Southeast Middle School, rather. That is on Old Highway 19 Southeast. For folks who usually vote at the Landing on 39, New Lauderdale, Daleville, East Lauderdale, Marion, Kewanee, Russell, or Toom-Suba, you will vote at Northeast Middle School out here on Highway 39. And then finally, for folks that vote at Pickard, Clarkdale, Meehan, South Nellyburg, or Zero, yes, South Nellyburg, you will vote at Clarkdale Attendance Center on Highway 145. And I guess I'll see you folks out there at Clarkdale tomorrow morning. That's where I vote at. So, but I just want to get those precincts out there again because that's just something important. We got to keep reminding folks. You got to keep reminding them this is where you vote, and also refer to your voter registration card as well, because there's been and Tony, that's another thing too, confusement. Like folks, like we had a call earlier this morning. It's like, well, I pay taxes on county property, but I can't vote in this because I don't live in. So there's all this confusion about can I vote or not vote.
Yeah. Right.
So I mean that's another part of this whole thing too.
That's the thing. I always feel like that's taxation without representation.
Right.
Because, I've owned property in the city and I live in the county. So when they have school bond issues there, I can't vote because you got where your primary residence is. And I don't think that's fair, but there's nothing I can do about that.
Well, and an important thing, too, that we always try to mention, too, everyone living in the county can vote except those few who live in the separate school district. And, of course, you got to refer to your voter registration card under school district. It's right there. It's SCHD. If it says SEP, you can't vote. Now, for folks, this is mainly for a few folks, Valley Road and around Old 8th Street Road. There's a few exceptions down in those areas, but just look for that number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then city voters. No one in the city can vote except those annexed, mostly around the Eagle Point, Briarwood, and east of the Bonita area. So we got to remember that annexed area, too. That's another part of this that got brought up here kind of late in the process.
Right. I feel sorry for those folks. I tell you. Get annexed by the city. You don't have any city services to speak of. I think they built a firehouse out there, but no police protection, no city water, no city sewage, no underground gas lines out there for them, and then they're having to pay the city taxes. And I understand there's a movement to de-annex from the city out there, and those people definitely need to get out and vote no, because you don't want your taxes to go any higher, I can assure you.
Let's go to the phone line this morning. Hey, caller, thanks for patiently holding. Good morning to you.
Oh, yeah, that's the most confusing thing I've heard in my life.
I know, isn't it?
I mean, you have to be some kind of school teacher to understand. Maybe.
Yeah, this whole thing from top to bottom, I think, confuses even us sometimes.
Some of these churches, I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to let it go. I wish some of these big churches would, the people start paying at least paying the tithes in there and get a private schools, more private schools built so you can get these children out of these public schools. And go online, and maybe one day they'll get a secure network where they could just they could just all vote, have a certain app where they can and the app set up securely where they could just sit at home and vote for all this stuff online. Don't have to go nowhere. And that's all I got to say about it. Come on, churches, preachers, step up. Let's get these private schools built. Get out of these public schools. Thank you.
Appreciate you, sir. All right, 601-485-9191. By the way, that 17 location that you've always been asking about, Charles, that is Oak Grove Baptist Church, by the way. That's what they just call it 17.
Gotcha. Okay.
I guess they want to feel special, 17.
I'm not sure. I voted Coker's Chapel, and I'm not sure which one you referred to there. Never mentioned Coker's Chapel.
Yeah, because
Benville. I mean, I guess they consider that Benville.
Yeah, because they got the precinct numbers out here next to the names here. 17, I guess, will be Oak Grove Baptist Church. That's 517 Causeyville, Odom. Now the Benville location is 564. I don't know if that means anything to folks. Should be on your voter registration card as your county precinct number. Okay. So, but like I said, it's just another layer of
confusion.
Right.
We need any more? No.
So, but anyway, but I just want to go back to that whole deal with the taxation without representation, because I think a lot of folks get a little frustrated by that, Tony. I mean,
absolutely.
I own property in the county, but I live in the city, so therefore I cannot vote on this. But guess what? If this thing passes, what's going to happen?
Right. Exactly. Taxes are going to go up, and you have no right to vote. And I don't understand that, and I've actually asked some of our state representatives to look into that, and nothing's changed. So I don't know if it's something they can't do, why you can't. It seems like to me if you've got to pay the tax that you need to be able to vote on an issue that's going to increase your taxes.
Exactly, because it's not just the property. It's going to be car tags. It's going to be a lot of other things. So a lot of folks just assume, oh, well, just the property values are going to go up. It's going to trickle down to a lot more than just that.
That's exactly right.
So folks need to realize that when we roll into the voting booths tomorrow. Yeah. So, but
before we take this next break, can I wish my sister a happy birthday?
Absolutely.
I'd like to wish Kathy Temple a happy 75th birthday. And I will say this about my sister. She don't look or act 75. She is the youngest 75 person. I told her the other day, I hope when I'm 75, I can do what she does and look like she does. Happy birthday, sister. I love you.
There we go. Fantastic. Yeah. Smart man.
Yes,
Make
indeed.
the women in your life happy.
That's right.
We're going to take a break, and we're going to talk more about this issue and take more of your phone calls at 485-9191. We'll be back.
$889 average annual savings when you combine State Farm home and auto insurance. And of course, Jeffrey Wilson, right here in town, is ready to help you combine your home and auto and save you that kind of money. 601-483-8253 is his number. You know, and they talk about State Farm like a good neighbor. We all know that kind of thing. And of course, they wear khakis. We know that as well. But, you know, it's good to have a good neighbor, because when you need an insurance agent, you've got an issue, whether that's a car accident, a tree falls in your home, anything like that, you want to call them up, and they are the one who are going to, you know, kind of negotiate all of that and lead you through it and let you, well, you get that settlement from the insurance company. So it's good to know your insurance agent. Jeffrey Wilson, of course, he's accessible, and what he does is he will meet with you once a year, kind of review your insurance needs, and then revise them as needed. So go see him today, 601-483-8253, and, of course, he is over there on 39 North, 2401 Highway 39 North. Jeffrey Wilson, State Farm.
Once again, we're continuing our visit here with Tony McDaniel, of course, representing taxpayers for reduced Lauderdale County school spending. Tony, appreciate you hanging out with us this morning.
Thank you, Rob. I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Absolutely. Of course, we're trying to, I guess, filter through all of the mysteries of this whole process.
I think the one thing that we've been
I don't know
talking about,
how to put it.
Oh God, there's so many mysteries. Unravel them. You know, and we keep talking about the fact that they've kept school in session that day, and that's something that seems simple to say. Okay, let's switch to a virtual day. But what occurs to me is you're accomplishing two things by keeping it non-virtual. Okay, you are keeping the lines of traffic going through, and that's kind of preventing people from voting, and that's one kind of added benefit of doing it that way. But you're also keeping the teachers in the buildings as opposed to sending them home doing a virtual day. So you've got that voting block that is going to vote for more funding for schools. And so, you know, you're accomplishing two goals with that. Now, by backtracking and saying, okay, you have that, you know, excused absence day if you want it, I think that was a concession he made after these, Superintendent Kane made after these town hall meetings that at each school. That's just the way that I kind of read that, because it seems to me that would be the first thing you would do is to go, virtual day that day. You know, we've been doing them anyway. Yeah. We know how to do it. We've got everything set up for it. It's just we're going to do that, you know, on that Tuesday. So
well, this comment I'm about to make is probably not going to be very popular with the school district, but if there's just a little bit of wind direction change or a little rain shower, they shut down the schools for half a day.
The threat of it.
If it's just a threat, even a threat of it now. I mean, because back, you know, years ago, I mean, it had to be pretty nasty stuff in order to, you know, cancel school if it was a snow day or something like that. But I understand there's safety concerns with buses and all that other kind of stuff. But if it's just a threat of it now that they do that, but why not this right here? Because the way I look at it, if there is a potential threat for a security issue when you open things up like this, I mean, Tony, I mean, it's pretty obvious to me.
Absolutely. It's obvious. It's making it difficult for people to vote. But I want to say this, Charles, that did get a few calls from teachers saying they were voting no, and the people they eat lunch with were voting no. They said, well, you know, we got to remember, we pay taxes too.
Sure. Yeah.
And so we don't want our taxes to go up, and we quite frankly feel like the $8 million is enough to do what they want to do. And there's going to be a lot of teachers voting no.
And speaking to the $8 million, I think that is a great seed money for a career technical education institute. But then if you need to expand programs, then you do that later. Why not start with the 8 and say, okay, we've got the foundation built, we've got the basics done. Now let's add this program for $500,000 and then or $1 million or whatever that is, and then also seek corporate sponsors. You know, you've got a culinary program.
There you go.
Viking. You talk to them in Greenwood. Hotel, restaurant, supply. Great community partners, and you know, they want to help education. It's in their vested interest to have people culinary trained because they want to sell more products down the road.
Absolutely.
So I mean,
they already partnered with Kubota Tractor in that part of it, and I think they're going to be partnering with others.
Sure.
And so that's a great
Mississippi
idea.
Power, you know, EMEPA, all of those for linemen. I mean, there's so many possibilities for partnerships with corporate. And so I think that the $8 million is good. It's a good way to start. And then as these programs develop, and whatever they're going to be, you know, you've got a plant that wants to move here and they want to make EVs. Okay, we can do that. And then let's shift some money over there. And maybe they would even come in and say, we want to sponsor part of that so that we can train our workforce development as well for the next, you know, year or two, whenever that would be down the road.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
You know, one of the things I'd like to bring up is that the guys that they have, Rob Smith's done a great job. I think he's very, he's got his heart in the right place.
He does.
He
Yeah.
does.
He's a good guy,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, he's done a lot of research. And most of the jobs they're trying to get these kids to do is most of them are going to have benefits. If you go to work at a place that repairs airplanes or things like that, they're more than likely going to have health insurance and 401ks and that type thing.
Right.
But at the same time, you got to remember a lot of these kids, when they get out of high school, that's it. They're done. Okay, so they need to provide opportunities that they can go out and start making a living the first day. And so many of these programs, I think, is going to require additional training for them to really be certified in the position for exactly the airline, one working on airplanes. They're not going to leave high school and be able to go work for Leonard Dean at the airport and work on airplanes. They're going to have to get additional certifications. And so I was thinking back, what we really need in Lauderdale County is like, construction. They said they have construction. Was that going to be carpentry? I mean, cabinet building? Or is it going to be plumbing? Is it going to be bricklaying? What's that going to include? Because I really feel like people work with their hands. They can go out the first day, and that's something you can teach a 10th, 11th, 12th grade to lay brick or to do some plumbing, and then they can go out and start the first day, go to work for one of the local plumbing contractors or one of the local house builders and get a job and start making a living with their family.
Yeah. Let's go back to the phone line. I got a caller on hold here. Hey, caller, good morning to you.
Good morning, and congratulations, Tony, for the job you've been doing, and you guys at the radio station too.
Thank you, Tommy.
It's really very positive that y'all have gotten so many people's attention, which is not that easy to do in Meridian in Lauderdale County.
Yeah, I agree, Tommy. I want to thank everybody that has called me. That I'm just shocked and humbled at the calls that I have received, thanking me for what I've done, taking the front runner on this thing and doing the advertising and things of this nature. And I want to thank everybody for the calls and that you've done for me and helping me out. There's been a lot of people behind the scenes calling me, hey, I want to help. What can I do? I got you some money. Stop by my office. And I'm just overwhelmed at the number of people that have tried to help me make this not to pass. And I think there's no doubt in my mind that Lauderdale County is dead against this thing. It's just a matter we got to vote. That's it. We got to get people out to vote.
And the thing is, they're not against the educational aspect of
absolutely.
It. Most everybody at those meetings, I went to two, and then I watched that video from the one at West Lauderdale. So people are for the project for giving additional career training to our kids. It's just that they have so blatantly done it in a way that it's got people against the process and against the money and things of that nature. But Tony, without you taking a lead on this, we wouldn't have the interest and the concern that's been developed. And I just want to thank you over the radio where other people can hear it, because you have been the leader in the
Tommy.
effort.
I appreciate the kind
really
words.
Do.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the phone call.
Good. Well, y'all go ahead. I'm out here at Lakeview getting ready to play a little golf in this beautiful weather.
Enjoy.
Look at that. Thank you, Tommy.
Okay. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
All right, bye-bye.
Thanks, Tommy.
There we go. 601-485-91. That's not a bad idea. A little round of golf this morning.
Yeah, if I had time.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Tony, is there anything we're missing here? I think we've hit everything pretty
I
solidly
really want
here.
to. I want to talk about closing the last 15 minutes is just reminding people they have to vote. Don't just hope it don't pass, or wait till you get your tax bill and what happened. Why is my taxes up? Every year I wait in this line down there at the. I try to, when I get those bills, I go ahead and don't want to spoil my Christmas, so I go ahead and pay them and get it done. And I'm down there waiting in line, people paying their taxes, and it never fails. Every year you have people, why did it go up?
Why did it go up?
Why did it go up? Yeah. What happened? Well, it's a school tax thing, So if you don't want your taxes to go up, vote no against this thing. You got to vote. You got to go to school, fight the traffic. I know it's not going to be convenient for a lot of people, But just don't hope it don't pass. Make sure it doesn't pass, and go and vote. And that is so important tomorrow.
Yeah, and I told someone the other day, I said about going to vote. I said, take a few folks with you that can vote. Make it, because a lot of people are concerned about the trip. I'm not a big fan of driving all the way to where I got to go vote, but I'm going to go do it.
I've got some folks that I'm offered to take, and I'm going to take them to go vote tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so that's what you got to do.
I think that's going to be the most interesting thing about tomorrow is getting on-site kind of reaction to what things are going to be set up. How's it going to be set up tomorrow? I still have a lot of concerns about when I roll up on that campus tomorrow. If I can't vote there, am I going to have to vote on the main or park on the main highway and walk over there to vote? And where am I supposed to go vote? They're going to have somebody pointing in the direction. They're going to have signage up. How is all this going to work?
I think it's a good possibility. It's not going to be real convenient. And like I say, I'd walk a mile. I'm going to vote. I'm going to care what I got to do, but I'm going to vote, and I'm going to be there at 7 o'clock in the morning.
There you go. So he's going to be there right as it opens.
Absolutely.
So you're going to vote at Southeast Middle, right?
That's correct.
I'm going to be over at Clarkdale. Charles, you vote at
Northeast.
So there you go. We got 3 different.
Well, I'm going to vote late. My intent is to go 6:45. That's I think that's going to be the best time. Obviously, school's not going to be in session, although there are maybe other people there voting too. But still, that should be easier for parking and getting in and out.
That's my thought process. Yeah. Go ahead and get there and get out of the way, because between about 7:30 and 8:30, it's just about impossible.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and somebody else had a concern here too about, and folks need to realize too, this election tomorrow is going to be handled by the election commissioners. There's going to be no school board representatives, no school district representatives counting the votes. This is all being done the legal way through the election commissioner, Donna Jill Johnson, her office. They're all handling this. And when someone asked me about that, I was like, really? So that confusion is out there.
Sure.
Because it's a referendum and it's something different, but the election commission is handling everything.
Absolutely. They had to go and approve. That's one of the things I checked on, is that they had to go and approve each polling place to make sure that it was, like I said earlier today, is that, the main thing is handicap parking. You've got to have handicap parking, and they have that. Of course, any school would have that anyway, and but they don't have to have any certain designated parking spaces for voters. Just hopefully they will do that. And John Mark at Clarkdale said there would be, so I'm going to take him as his word that there will be some type of voting parking places that only voters can park in that day while they're there voting, and I hope that's the case.
Very good. 601-485-9191 as we continue to discuss the school bond issue. Vote tomorrow. It's going to be on the ballot. Of course, the school locations are West Lauderdale Elementary, Southeast Middle School, Northeast Middle School, and Clarkdale. And, we'll go over those precincts again with you probably several times tomorrow, especially with it being the day of the vote. But real quick, let's thank our friends off of Exit 150. Before you go vote tomorrow, get you something delicious to eat.
Or after you go.
Or after you go.
You can't do it while you're voting.
Or do it twice.
Yeah, that's right. I vote for Magnolia Restaurant inside the Queen City Truck Stop. Exit 150. Of course, they got the long haul breakfast. You may need it if you're waiting in line to go vote. And, of course, tomorrow, or today is, Monday. They've got pot roast. Man. Also fried chicken, hamburger steak, beef tips over rice, and chicken wings. They've always got the veggie plates. And your personal favorite, Rob, the Biggie Burger.
Biggie Burger.
How big is it? Huge. Huge. That's right. Go see them. The Queen City Truck Stop, the Magnolia Restaurant. Give them a call, 601-482-0259. Get something to go.
Tony, got a Facebook comment here. I'll let you address this from Candace May here. She said, so is it just for the children, or eventually will it be available for adults to use, also like it was said at a meeting?
Okay,
so
that's a very good question.
I know there was some confusion about that, right?
Absolutely. And, they were talking about being in conjunction with some of the programs with the college.
Okay.
Okay, and so, of course, out there you've got people of all ages. You have people that go back for education, realize they missed out in their 20s, and maybe they're in their 30s and 40s and want to better themselves, and they're going back to the college for workforce development training or whatever. And so there's been some confusion on that, and quite frankly, I really can't answer the question point blank, but I just don't think they would allow a 40-year-old to come back to the high school. But that is still a question that I cannot answer that's an administration question because they did say they have this agreement with them, knowing that their students can go over to the college and get some kind of a credit for college credit by taking these classes. But I'm not sure if it works in reverse. If the guys that's 40 years old can actually go to the high school to this workforce development training center they're planning on building. I don't know.
Yeah, and I know
another
Rob,
question.
And that's a good question.
I mean, it is.
A parent be concerned about a 17, 18-year-old girl
Right.
out there, and you got some guy that's 40 years old that
Sure.
is,
Absolutely.
I would be concerned as a parent as well.
Absolutely.
And Rob Smith certainly alluded to that as far as the transition from the high school to the workforce development program at the college. But I don't know that he mentioned anything about, kind of going back into the high school for the older continuing ed adult. So I don't think, it just seems to me that there'd be laws preventing that and that there would be some restrictions on letting people of that age go to a facility like high school, unless they did something after hours and used some of the, depending on what programs they have there, depending on what passes and that sort of thing. But, if they have airplane mechanics, a facility there at the high school that they didn't have at the college, then an evening class may be appropriate, and why not? Why not use that for
use the school buildings
for adults to get
yes,
there?
exactly.
But
right. That's a
after
good
the
point.
kids have gone home, and so
Exactly.
that you've got some separation between the age groups and keeping the kids separate from that and
Absolutely.
protected.
Absolutely.
So that would be vital for that. But I think that'd be a great idea to incorporate those facilities for continuing ed and in partnership with MCC.
Absolutely. Let's go back to the phone line. Hey, caller, welcome in.
How you doing today?
Hey, doing good, sir. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. You cannot separate those when you take federal funding, and they are taking federal funding for these programs. So
Interesting.
When they need to fill those seats, they will fill those seats according to federal guidelines, and it will not have an age, race, creed, any religion, anything. You follow federal guidelines.
Well, that'd be bad in my opinion.
But surely high schools have guidelines as well as far as age limitations and things of that nature.
They may at the high schools now, but you got to remember this is a CTE school. It's a trade school, and it's going to have federal funding. That's what the lady at the meetings were trying to get across to everybody. This is not just about a bond issue. This is about your federal government taking over your schools. Once you take federal funding, the federal auditors are allowed to come in and tell you how to run your program.
Well, I tell
Don't
you,
believe it. You don't believe it? Call the banks and ask them when they took the federal funding. They couldn't even pay it back. Had to get a lawyer to pay the money back to the federal government.
Wow.
So,
Well, I know that every school, every public school in the country, not just Mississippi, has federal, state, and local funding. And they couldn't survive without all those pots of money. But I'm not sure what stipulations the federal government. I know they stipulate you can't discriminate based on lots of different reasons, but I would feel like that they, the age thing, that's probably, age is something on an application when you hire people. You can't discriminate based on how old they are.
Yeah.
In fact, you're really not even supposed to ask them how old they are.
No, you can't.
Right.
And so,
Exactly.
and so I guess that could possibly be the case. I would hope that they would not allow that. But again, since they want to do this thing with the college and have this college credit, and they did say something about the college could send people over to the CTE building, I guess that's a possibility.
Well, as far as a GED, though, if somebody's 25 years old wants to get their GED, then they don't go to high school to get that, or if they do, it's after hours. They generally go to the college.
That's
so
right.
I don't know why,
College,
in the same way that continuing education for a technical degree or just education wouldn't go to the same thing as the college and
The
not
only
go back
thing,
to high
Charles,
school.
that I think of, they're going to have some things at the high school that they're not going to have, that they don't have at the college now. And they were trying to say
They better. I mean,
they need to.
If not, then we got the same thing all over again.
Exactly.
So that's redundant, and then we're just
Exactly.
spending $8 million on something that we already have.
just
But yeah,
something to think about.
It is. Thank you for your call.
All right.
Appreciate that. 601-485-9191. Got another comment here. Says if the CT is turned over into the workforce development, that may change who or what can attend. Not safe at all. So talking about the possibility of that too. So just something else. So we're running up the flagpole right there.
Yep.
Literally is. So
Yep.
let's go back to the phone line. Hey, caller, welcome in.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify a point. At the Clarkdale meeting, when Rob was asked about students in the class, adults with students, he did say, well, that's happening, that's happening already in locations, but we're just not ready for it yet.
Okay.
And when asked if he could take that off the table, he said no. So,
Okay.
I mean, that was how he clarified it. And I think one of the concerns was a statement said all the seats had to be filled. So if we don't have enough students, then businesses can bring their students in. So whoever that is.
Yeah, they
Okay.
did. They did say that, and that is
Yes.
that will be a concern to a parent that's got a high schooler. I would
Yeah.
have to say I would be concerned.
And he also bragged about the coffee shop. It would be students making coffees, serving it to the general public. It was open to the public. So if I had a daughter, I would be concerned about the men coming in there ordering coffee, and she's so young. I just don't think that's a good mix.
No,
Thank you.
I have to agree.
Appreciate that.
You know, that's a legitimate concern, and you know, I think the coffee shop thing sounds good, but like she said, you know, you're inviting people there that could possibly have bad intent, you know, and you're opening yourself up for that. And I just don't know how many people I know that there's Gibson Steel out there, and the waste management people are out there. And they provide coffee for their employees now. Now, whether or not they're going to drive over there and buy anything, I don't know. I would assume they would probably have sweet rolls and other things there if you're going to serve coffee. But I don't think anybody from town is going to drive by 3 or 4 other coffee shops to go out there and buy coffee, because it's way out of the way for most people. But, you know, whether or not that's something they need to have is questionable. I think it sounds nice, but whether it will be practical and pay for itself, that's another thing.
Well, I think it comes back to the question of school security. I mean, you're limiting access to campuses all over the country. Every school has limited access, yet you're going to open this one up to the public and say, hey, come on in and get a cup of coffee. Well, they have access to the school then, don't they?
Absolutely.
And so
this is going to be a 5th campus.
It doesn't make that part doesn't make sense to me.
No.
As far as you've got campuses that I wouldn't say they're on lockdown, but they virtually are, and probably with good reason.
Except for
yet you're
tomorrow.
Yep, except for tomorrow.
Tomorrow, right?
That's right. That's
Except
right.
for tomorrow.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, and my thing about it is when you open, I mean, this to the public here with serving the coffee and stuff, we already have a bad enough crime problem as it is in Meridian. That's just another gateway, potentially.
Sure. If
I mean,
you've
it's
got kids that you can intimidate and, hey, open the register, right.
I mean, exactly. I mean, that's a completely different...
Of course, you do have resource officers and things like
sure,
that. But
Sure,
But yeah.
That gets to another manpower issue, too. I had to put one more out there. So
Exactly.
it's just layer after layer after layer after layer. So.
The onion's getting bigger.
Exactly.
Well, Tony, we got about a minute left here on the program. We'll just kind of let you have the floor and talk to the folks out there.
Well, I appreciate that. I just, like I say, this has been a long, hard thing for me to get involved with. I want to thank everybody again for their help that helped me put this together, and thank you for all the calls that I've gotten has been 100% supportive of what we've trying to do here, and that is to reduce our taxes or keep our taxes from going up, I should say, and to bring to light the deception that the school board and the administration has done for the taxpayers of Lauderdale County. Number one, they didn't have to have a special election. They had no regard for our tax dollars and called a special election knowing it was going to cost somewhere between $30,000 and $40,000 to do it. No problem. We just got plenty of money. We'll go ahead and do that. And then number two, to have it at the schools rather than normal polling places. And it was said they did it to keep the election from costing so much. And I can understand that 24 voting locations would cost a lot of money to have it for a single issue, but they didn't have to have it at the schools. They could have had the 4 closest locations to the schools, could have been where they would had this vote at, and didn't have to have it at schools. So that's an issue there. And they have $8 million. So the program will go forward without our $12.5 million, one way or the other. So there's no reason not to vote for it, but a lot of reasons to vote against it, in my opinion.
All right, very good. Tony McDaniel, appreciate you coming by. Appreciate breakfast this morning, too. It was delicious.
Oh, thank y'all. Appreciate y'all having me.
Absolutely. We'll talk more about the bond issue because tomorrow's the day, Charles.
Oh, it is.
Tomorrow's the big day.
D-Day.
Glenn Beck is up next, and we'll talk to you then.
Well,